गुड मॉर्निंग एवरीबडी। ऑप्टिमल सक्सेस ट्रैजेक्टरी के ऑनलाइन क्लासेस में आपका स्वागत है। आई एम vishvendra, द फाउंडर ऑफ ऑप्टिमल सक्सेस ट्रैजेक्टरी. Today we will discuss a question on the force. The question says that there is a block of mass 20 kg and it's placed on a surface and it is given an initial velocity of 2 meter per second and a force x on it which is t plus 4. The force is time dependent and we need to find the initial acceleration, AT graph, VT graph and PT graph. As I told you earlier, whenever you solve a problem, your mind follows certain steps. And if you can learn to synchronize these 4 steps and to manage these 4 steps, then you can have very good problem solving skills. Most of the students aspiring for JEE NEET fails because they don't have problem solving skills. So start learning the art of problem solving skills. You solve questions to learn problem solving skills. Don't try to mug the solution or run away from solving questions. If your mind is filled with fear from the sight of questions, then you won't be able to learn problem solving skills. So learn carefully, learn in steps, don't run away from yourself. Learn in step. The first step is a silent mind. Whenever you start solving a problem, make sure that you are silent for 10 to 20 seconds. Silence give your mind the time to think and you can generate ideas. You can retrieve the information stored in your mind in a better way. So let's start with the idea. As the question says, we need to find the acceleration. So the first idea is how to find acceleration. The second is we need to draw the graphs. So we need to know how the graphs are being drawn. These are the basic ideas behind solving this question. Now let's talk about the information. So we know that acceleration can be found from the force equation. Force is equal to ma, which is second equation of motion for constant mass. So another thing is we need to find velocity. So velocity, we know the relation from first equation of motion, v is u plus integration dt for variable acceleration. Third is an information about straight line graphs. We need to know how to draw the straight line graphs. Then parabolic graphs, we need to know how to draw parabolic graphs. Talking about the calculations, the first thing is F is equal to ma. So F is t plus 4, which is 20 into a, because the mass of the block is 20 kg. So we have t plus 4 is 28. At t is equal to 0, we can say this will be 4 because t will be 0. So we can say 4 is equal to 20a. That means a is equal to 4 by 20. That is 1 by 5. That is 0.2. So the initial acceleration of the block will be 0.2 meter per second square. Let's find instantaneous acceleration. So F is equal to ma, t plus 4 is 20a. That gives you a is equal to t by 20 plus 4 by 20, which is 0.2. So we know that it's equation of a straight line having positive slope and intercept 0.2. So that will be the shape of the graph. I have drawn this graph as dotted because time is not negative. That's very possible to give a certain reference, but we assume that time moves forward and it's not possible to revert it back. But I have drawn this graph as a dotted one. The next is we know that v is equal to u plus integration dt. So u is 2, a has this value, integration dt under the limit 0 to t. So after solving we get this as v. So since this is a quadratic equation in t, so we know that the graph is to be a parabola. Let's find the vertex of the parabola. For that, just differentiate velocity. So you get this one, and t is equal to minus 0.4. Obviously the vertex will be at t is minus 0.4 and the value of v will be positive because here it is 2. So if you calculate, v will be positive. So the parabola will be like this, and at t is equal to 0, v is equal to 2. So we can draw the graph. Again I have drawn the dotted graph because time is not negative. Let's move forward to momentum. Momentum is equal to mass into velocity. So this is the expression differentiated. T is minus 0.4. So P is positive at T is equal to 0. P is 40. So at T is equal to minus 0.4, P is positive. You can do see it from the calculations. So this will be also a parabola. So the inferences that we can draw from these calculations is that if AT graph is a straight line, then VT and PT graph will be parabolas because of degree of T in that. I hope you got the results. And always do remember, don't try to mug the solution, learn the process of problem solving skills. Only then you will be able to perform in your exam. If your mind is filled with fear, anxiety, depression or any other negative aspect of your personality, you won't be able to perform better. So focus on the art of problem solving skills rather than playing with words and informations. Thank you and have a nice day. गुड आफ्टरनून एवरीबॉडी, माई सेल्फ विश्वेंद्र, द फाउंडर ऑफ ऑप्टिमल सक्सेस ट्रैजेक्टरी। आज कुछ क्वेश्चंस आपसे डिस्कस करूंगा इलेक्ट्रोस्टैटिक्स के। द फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन इज दैट द थ्री चार्जेस Q आर प्लेस्ड एट द vertices of an equilateral triangle and you need to find the force on the one of the charge which is present at one of the vertices. So as I have already told you, whenever you solve a problem, your mind must follow 4 steps. The first step is a silent mind. Now have an idea about how you will solve the question. So this is about finding and adding the vectors. So the idea for solving this question is how to add vectors. So think on that, how you will add vectors. When you will think on adding vectors, then your mind will give you certain information related to the vector addition. We know that if two equal forces are inclined at an angle theta, the resultant force has a magnitude 2f cos theta by 2. The first information which we need to use in this question. The second is the force is k q1 q2 by r square as per the statement of Coulomb's law. So I do need to use these two informations. Without these informations I can't solve my question. Now let's work on the calculation part. So resultant force has a magnitude twice f cos theta by 2. Theta here is 60, so you just substitute theta is equal to 60 and we have net force as root 3 kq square by L square. So you have seen that the solution is composed of certain steps. The most important step is a silent mind. If on solving a question. Good morning everybody, myself Vishvendra, I am the founder of Optimal Success Trajectory. आज आपके सामने एक ट्रिक लेके पुली का जो मोशन है, पुली कंस्ट्रेंट मोशन, उसे आप इजीली एक ट्रिक के थ्रू सॉल्व कर सकते हैं। मान लीजिए पुली आपको दिया हुआ है, इसमें एक साइड आपने मास m1 कनेक्ट किया है स्ट्रिंग से, दूसरी साइड आपने मास m2 कनेक्ट किया है। तो कुछ स्टैंडर्ड क्वेश्चंस हैं, जैसे फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल आपको इसका सिस्टम का एक्सेलरेशन निकालना है। तो जाहिर सी बात है, दो एंड्स पे अगर आप ब्लॉक्स रखते हैं तो उसमें एक भारी होगा एक हल्का होगा, या दोनों से मेट किए होंगे, तो जो भारी है वो नीचे जाएगा, जो हल्के वाला मास है वो ऊपर जाएगा। आई एज्यूम कि m2 इज हेवियर देन m1, so m2 will move in vertically downward direction and m1 will move in vertically upward direction. The trick is that acceleration is driving force upon mass of system, because these two masses will move together. So we have the driving force as m2 minus m1g divided by m1 plus m2, and the tension at this string is equal to 2m1 into g by m1 plus m2. Whereas on the rope it's double of that. You can do the FPD of this, and T2 is equal to twice of T1 because pulley is massless. So we have these results. Now there is a special case when M2 is very greater than M1. You just connect an elephant and a rat by a string which is wounded on a pulley. What will happen? Obviously elephant will move down and rat will move up with the acceleration equal to the acceleration due to gravity. And this can be mathematically proved by mathematical analysis. Just like that, m2 minus m1 can be approximated by m2 when m2 is very greater than m1. So we have result for acceleration is equal to g, and result for t1 as twice m1g, and for t2 4 m1g. So this is the result that when a system is so that one of the mass is very large as compared to the other mass, then tension in the string is equal to double the weight of the lighter mass, and tension in the rope connecting pulley with the ceiling is 4 times the weight of the lighter mass. That's the result, you can remember. Let's implement that. Suppose there are two masses 5 kg and 10 kg. So acceleration is 10 minus 5g upon 10 plus 5. It comes out to be g by 3. Using the same result, we have T1 as 100g by 15 or 20g by 3 and T2 as 40g by 3. Now let's suppose that I replace one mass by two masses. So nothing changes. The thing is that the total mass will be added now. So acceleration will be 20 minus 10 plus 5, which is 15, g divided by 20 plus 15, which is g by 7. If you apply Newton's second law on this 20 kg block, then we have mentioned as 120 g by 7. So I hope by this method you can solve your questions quickly. So that was just a trick to make your calculations very sharper. You must have seen that some students are very smart. They just solve question like that very quickly. It's not a secret or something like that, or some sort of genius in them. It's just the way that they have learned the trick of solving questions. You can also do that. Just learn the trick with a silent mind, then have the idea, then information, then solution. Whatever information you want to be stored in your mind, make sure that first of all you have a silent mind. Then store that information with patience, with peace and with comfort. If you feel anxiety or any other uncomfortable feeling when you are learning, then your mind will never be able to retrieve that information. You will lose. So make sure that whatever you want to learn, you learn it with positive feeling, with enjoyment, with a creativity and with a good feeling. Only then your mind will be able to store that information in your mind. Otherwise you will always suffer because of that information which is unpleasant. It's simply the characters, simply the qualities of a human mind. So whatever you learn, make sure that you learn in a positive way, in a creative way, so that you can remember that for a long time. Thank you and have a nice day. Good morning everybody, myself Vishvendra, and in today's class we shall discuss about the pulley constrained motion. So आपने देखा होगा कि एक पुली में एक स्ट्रिंग होती है जो पुली से चिटकी होती है पुली के ऊपर, तो स्ट्रिंग की लेंथ कांस्टेंट रहती है, द लेंथ ऑफ द स्ट्रिंग रिमेन्स कांस्टेंट. तो जो एंड पॉइंट्स हैं स्ट्रिंग के और जो पुली है वो कनेक्टेड है, तो इन तीनों के वेलोसिटीज रिलेटेड होते हैं, और पुली का जो वेलोसिटी है इट इज़ द अरिथमेटिक मीन ऑफ द एंड पॉइंट्स वेलोसिटी. सिमिलर थिंग इज फॉर एक्सेलरेशन. So as a trick you can solve questions directly. Suppose that this is the pulley, this is the center of pulley and it has got a velocity vc. This is end A and this is end B. So the velocities are related by vc is equal to va plus vb by 2 and ac is equal to aa plus ab by 2, and it has to be used with sign. That is, for positive, for upward direction you have to take that as positive, and for downward direction you have to take that as negative. Let's implement what we learned today. Suppose this is a pulley. This end has got a speed of 10 and this has got a speed of 4. So velocity of point C will be the arithmetic mean, which is 7. It is positive. That means C points will be having a velocity in vertically upward direction. Let's do that for another question. Here it's moving with a velocity 20 upward direction and 4 meter per second downward. So using the sign convention that upward is positive and downward is negative, we have velocity of C as 20 minus 4 by 2, which is 16 by 2, which is 8 meter per second. So you have seen how easy it is to learn this trick, and with this trick you can solve your questions quickly. Hope it works for you. Thank you and have a nice day. गुड मॉर्निंग एवरीबडी, ऑप्टिमल सक्सेस ट्रैजेक्टरी की ऑनलाइन क्लासेस में आपका स्वागत है. आज हम डिस्कस करेंगे वर्क डन बाय अ गैस के बारे में. ये बेसिकली थर्मोडायनेमिक्स का चैप्टर है. एक गैस को आपने एक पिस्टन में भरा, तो बिकॉज द गैस अप्लाइज अ फोर्स ऑन द पिस्टन, तो पिस्टन का मूवमेंट होता है, उस मूवमेंट की वजह से वर्क इज डन ऑन द पिस्टन. सो वी हैव अ जनरल रिलेशन फॉर द वर्क डन बाय अ गैस एज इंटीग्रेशन ऑफ P into dV, where P is the pressure exerted by the gas on the piston and dV is the elemental change in volume. So we will calculate all the work done using this concept. So let's start with isothermal process first. तो isothermal process में हमें इक्वेशन पता है. The equation of ideal gas equation is PV is equal to nRT. So P is equal to nRT by V. So delta W is integration of P dV. This is nRT by V dV. So integrating it, we have nRT log V final by V initial. So here it is log base E. So if I change the base, then using the base change formula, we can see that this work done will be 2.303 nRT log base 10 V final by V initial. Now let us draw the graph of this. So the graph will be a rectangular hyperbola. Suppose initial volume at point A is Vi and a final volume at point B is Vf. So this area under curve will represent the value of delta W. Now for adiabatic process, we know that the equation for adiabatic process is PV की power gamma is equal to constant, where gamma is adiabatic constant. So we can say that P initial V initial की power gamma is equal to PF V final की power gamma. यहाँ से हम ये कह सकते हैं, तो P का जो वैल्यू है that will be K upon V की power gamma. तो इसको आप ऊपर ले आइए, तो ये हो जाएगा V की power minus gamma into K. So delta W will be integration P dV. P का वैल्यू है V की पावर माइनस गामा इंटू K dV. तो यहाँ से आप इसको लिख सकते हैं K V की पावर माइनस गामा प्लस वन अपॉन माइनस गामा प्लस वन VI to VF. So integrating the expression we have the final result as this. और अगर हम ग्राफ ड्रॉ करें PV के बीच में, so that will be the graph and area under the graph will represent the work done. So ये जो delta W है ये इसके वर्क डन के इक्वल आ जाएगा यहाँ से. टॉकिंग अबाउट आइसोकोरिक प्रोसेस वो होता है जिसमें वॉल्यूम कांस्टेंट है, तो dv जीरो हो जाएगा, इसका मतलब वर्क डन विल बी जीरो. ग्राफ से आप देख सकते हैं एरिया नहीं होगा क्योंकि ये स्ट्रेट लाइन होगा. उसके बाद आइसोबेरिक प्रोसेस जिसमें प्रेशर कांस्टेंट है, सो वर्क डन विल बी p vf माइनस vi. तो आप एरिया को कंपेयर करके कह सकते हैं कि अगर चार प्रोसेसेस आपको दिए हुए हैं जिसमें इनिशियल और फाइनल वॉल्यूम सेम है, आइसोथर्मल, एडियाबैटिक, आइसोकोरिक एंड आइसोबेरिक. So work done will be maximum in isobaric process during expansion. You can see it from the graph, and it is minimum during isocoric process. And for all the processes, we can say that work done in isobaric is greater than work done in isothermal, is greater than work done in adiabatic, is greater than work done in isocoric. You can verify these by numerical values or by analyzing the graphs. I hope it worked for you. Thank you and have a nice day. Good morning everybody, myself Vishvendra, I am the founder of Optimal Success Trajectory, and we have started this irradial solution program in which we make students learn the process of problem solving. The process is composed of 4 steps. The first is have a silent mind, second is idea, third is information, and fourth is calculation. So the first step, let's have a silent mind for 10 to 20 seconds. Silence is important because your mind can have time for thinking. If you are not silent, you will be confused. Your mind will not be able to think and gather the required information. That's why silent mind is necessary. So let's discuss about the question. The question says that velocity of a particle moving in space is given by ai cap plus bx j cap, where xy are the coordinates of the particle moving in xy plane. Initially, both coordinates are 0. That means particle started from the origin of coordinate system. We need to find the first part is equation of trajectory, and the second part is radius of curvature of the particle as a function of x. So let's have an idea for that. So the first thing is how to relate x and y from value of velocity. We need to have an idea for that. The second is how to find the radius of curvature. So we need to rack our brain for that. The first information that we need to use is Vx is equal to dx by dt and Vy is equal to dy by dt. That is how I can relate the x and y coordinates respectively. The third thing is the radius of curvature. So we know that radius of curvature is given by 1 plus dy by dx whole square power 3 by 2 divided by d square y by dx square. Now let's talk about the calculations. So we know that velocity vector can be written as Vx I cap plus Vy j cap. So velocity is here given to be ai cap plus bx j cap. So comparing the velocity, so we can say that Vx is equal to a and Vy is equal to bx as per the equality of vectors. Now Vx is equal to a, which means dx by dt will be a. So integrating this expression, we get x is equal to a by t. So t is equal to x by a. Similarly, Vy is equal to bx, x is at, so Vy is dy by dt is bat. Integrating, we get this, y is equal to this. Now t is equal to x by a. So if I substitute t is equal to x by a from here to here, I get this equation, which is equation of a parabola. So it may turn upward or it may turn downward depending on the values of a and b. If ab is positive, that is they have same sign, it will turn upward. If they have opposite sign, it will turn downward.
Now talking about the radius of curvature, why is this? So dy by dx is bx by a and d square y by dx square is b by a. So substituting the values, we have this as the radius of curvature. At origin x is 0, so radius is equal to a by b, radius of curvature, which is minimum in magnitude. So you have seen that when you solve a problem, certain steps are being followed. You must practice on those steps. Perform, learn, analyze, update each step. The steps are a silent mind, idea, information and calculation. Each question that you perform, your mind must follow these 4 steps. Only then you will be expert in problem solving skills. Thank you and have a nice day.
Good morning everybody, myself Vishvendra, the founder of Optimal Success Trajectory. We have started solutions for irritative programming, in which we tell about the process of problem solving skills. The process is composed of 4 things: silent mind, idea, information and calculations. So each problem that you solve, your mind must process these four processes. Only then you will be able to learn effectively. So let's start with the problem. It's 1.26. It says that a particle is moving in xy plane such that the coordinates x and y are related by x is equal to a sin omega t and y is equal to a into 1 minus cos omega t. You need to find the first thing, distance traveled by the particle in time t is equal to tau, and the second, angle between velocity and acceleration. So the first step, silent mind. Silence gives your mind the time to think and generate ideas. Every bit of information that is present in the world has its origin from that silence. So it's very necessary to get connected to silence before you start solving a problem. Now let's think for the ideas. The first idea is how to find distance from the coordinates. And the second is how to find the angle between velocity and acceleration. So let's look for the information, that do we have some information in our mind related to the ideas. So the information is that yes, distance is the integration of speed dt from the given time interval, for the given time interval, and speed is also equal to root of vx square plus vy square. If coordinates are given, then we have to use this result. The third thing is vx is dx by dt, vy is dy by dt. Fourth is v dot is va cos theta. So these 4 informations are needed. If we are not able to retrieve these 4 informations, we won't be able to solve questions. So you must follow the process. Check where you are lacking, why you are not able to solve problems, and work on the desired result. Work on the outcome. Work on your deficiency. So let's move forward related to the calculations. We know that Vx is dx by dt. So d by dt, x is a sin omega t. So a you can take outside, and differentiation of sin omega t is omega cos omega t. So this is Vx is a omega cos omega t. Similarly, Vy is dy by dt. This is differentiation, and after completing the process, Vy comes out to be a omega sin omega t. Now speed is root under Vx square plus Vy square. After the values, we have V is equal to a omega, because cos square omega t plus sin square omega t is 1. So we have V is equal to a omega, which is constant. That means speed of the particle is constant. Now distance is integration v dt 0 to tau. So speed is a omega dt 0 to tau. A omega is common, so we can take it outside. Integration dt from 0 to tau, that will be tau. So the distance travelled is a omega into tau. Third, velocity vector can be written as vx I cap plus vy j cap. Substituting the value of vx and vy, we can write it as a omega cos omega t I cap plus a omega sin omega t j cap. Acceleration is dv by dt, so we can differentiate it, and this will be the result. If we perform the dot product of the vectors, we have, if you multiply I cap term with I cap and j cap term with j cap, we have this, and it is equal to 0. And we know for sure that if the dot product of two vectors is 0, then they are certainly perpendicular if they are not 0, and certainly they are not 0. So the angle between them is pi by 2, so they are perpendicular to each other. And you see, if we draw the graphs, then
For the speed time graph, we have a omega as the value. For distance time graph, the graph will be a straight line and it will increase with time. For the acceleration, it's a omega square. And one more thing, here velocity and acceleration are always perpendicular and the magnitude of speed is constant, that has to be. So the motion will be a circular motion. You can find the center for that as a part of the homework. So you have seen that it's not about learning the solution, it's about learning the process. Follow the process. Each time you solve a question, your mind must follow the four processes. The first is a silent mind, second is the idea, third is the information, and fourth is the calculation. And don't run away from your truth. If you will skip any of the step, you will just roam around here and there without any purpose, and you will just waste your time, money, and energy. Nothing will work. If you are not sincere for your own working, nobody will pay attention for that. So take up your own responsibility on your shoulders, and it should be your vision and your target that you should be selected in the exam. You should learn the art of problem solving skills and end up in flying colors. Thank you and have a nice day. Good morning everybody. Myself Vishvendra, I am the founder of Optimal Success Trajectory. Today we will discuss the problem 1.24 as per our irreducible solution program. So in this program you must learn the process of solving question. It is composed of 4 steps. The first step is have a silent mind from 10 to 20 seconds. Next is generate ideas. Next is retrieve information from your mind, and next is the calculations. So let's start with the silent mind. Be silent for 10 to 20 seconds. Silence give your mind the time to think, which is necessary for problem solving skills. Now the problem says that position vector of a particle is at I cap minus bt square j cap, where AB are constants. You need to find the equation of trajectory, time dependency of velocity, acceleration and then modulus, and the moment at which velocity and acceleration are inclined at an angle of pi by 4. So let's look for the solution. The first thing is idea. Trajectory is the relation between x and y coordinate. So the first idea is how to find the relation between x and y. The second is we need to find velocity. So what is the relation between velocity and position vector? Next is what is the relation between acceleration and position vector. And third is how to find angle between the two vectors. So for these things you need certain informations which you learnt during your preparation. So it's the time to retrieve those information. If you are not able to retrieve information, you won't succeed in solving the problem. So you must understand the mechanism of problem solving skills. So let's start with that. Let's start with information. So the first thing is to find the relation between x and y. We must know the interrelation between parameters. And we know that v is dr by dt, a is dv by dt, and v dot a is va cos theta. These informations will be used for solving the problem. So if we have retrieved that, we are comfortable in solving the problem. Now let's start with the calculation part. I suppose vector r is xi cap plus yj cap if x and y are the coordinates of the particle at any instant. Here it is given to be at I cap minus bt square j cap. Comparing the vectors, we have x is 80 and y is minus bt square. So from here we can say that t is x by a. So y is minus bt square. So in place of t, you substitute x by a, and the result is y is minus bx square by a square. So we know the graph will be a parabola turning toward minus x-axis. So that will be the shape of the parabola. Now the second part is we know the relation between v and r is v is dr by dt. So this is d by dt of this. So solving this we get ai cap minus 2bt j cap. The magnitude is squaring and adding, we have this magnitude. Acceleration is dv by dt. So differentiation of ai cap will be 0 because a is constant, and from here we have minus 2b j cap. So the magnitude will be twice mod of t. So this will be the AT graph. The next thing is v dot a. We know that v dot a is va cos theta. Theta is pi by 4. So vector v is ai minus 2bt j cap. Vector a is minus 2b j cap. So v dot a is this. V is the magnitude of velocity vector, which is speed also. So this is just squaring and adding. We have the magnitude as this. A is equal to 2p from here, the magnitude of acceleration. So v dot A is va cos this. We put the values and the final result is t is equal to t naught, which is a by 2b.
So neglecting the negative sign because time is not negative. So in this way we can solve the problem. So you must have seen that it's about the steps involved in the problem solving skills. Work on each step. I'll repeat: silent mind, idea, information and calculations. In this way you can develop problem solving skills. Thank you and have a nice day. Good morning, myself Vishvendra, I'm the founder of Optimal Success Strategy. So here is the irreducible solution program. So here the concept is you don't try to learn the solution, just try to learn the process of the solution. And we have categorized the process in 4 parts. The first step is you must be silent when you are solving the problem. We have a silent mind. If your mind is filled with thoughts, images, anxiety, depression, excitement, you won't be able to solve the problem effectively. So the first step when you solve a problem is have a silent mind for at least 10 to 20 seconds. Then is the idea. Generate idea. If you have a silent mind, only then your mind will be able to think and have an idea. The third is retrieving information from the mind, and the fourth is calculation. And for each problem that you practice, you must repeat these 4 steps again and again. That will develop your problem solving skills. So let's start with the problem. It says that a particle is moving along x-axis. The velocity as a function of coordinate x is given by v is equal to alpha root x, where alpha is a constant, and it's given that at initial position x is equal to 0. You need to find the first option, velocity as a function of time, the second acceleration as a function of time. These 2 parts I have added, vt graph and et graph. So this is the problem. So have a silent mind for 10 to 20 seconds. Now think, have an idea. What is the relation between v and t, velocity and time? What is the relation between a and t? Think. The next part is information. We know that the relation between velocity and coordinate is v is dx by dt, and between acceleration and coordinate is a is equal to dv by dt. So these are relations we get. And we also, because we are using differentiation, so we must know the rules of differentiation and integrations also, because these will be needed. So if you are able to retrieve this information from your mind, then you can solve the questions. Now let's move on to the calculations. V is dx by dt, v is alpha root x. So from here we have, you just take this root x over here. So dx by root x is alpha dt. So this is applying the limits from 0 to x. Here is from 0 to t. So this is x to the power minus half dx is alpha into t. So you just integrate that, and it will be x to the power half upon half is equal to alpha t. 2 will be, you can take over here. So 2x to the power half is alpha t. So root x is alpha t by 2. Just square that, and we get x is equal to alpha square t square by 4. Now we know that velocity is dx by dt. You just differentiate that, so velocity comes out to be alpha square t by 2. Next, acceleration is dv by dt. You just differentiate that, you get acceleration is alpha square by 2. Now talking about the graphs, vt graphs, because v is proportional to t, so graph will be a straight line. Let's suppose this angle is theta, so then theta will be alpha square by 2. Similarly, acceleration is constant, alpha square by 2, so that will be the shape of the graph. So you have seen that if you are thorough with the process, then you can solve questions with like that. You can make up your speed and you can solve questions very easily and very fast, which is the only skill needed to crack your exams for JEE Main, JEE Advanced, NEET, NDSC, KVPY, AIMS and other exams also. So work on your problem solving skills, work on the processes of the mind, and you can end up with the flying colors. Thank you and have a nice day. Good morning everybody. Myself Vishvendra, I am the founder of Optimal Success Strategy. We have started the solved questions for Iredo as a part of our program, and in this program we give the structured way of problem solving skills. You see, there is no concept, no point in learning the solution. You must learn the process. Solving a problem requires certain skills of the mind, and these skills are attained by continuous and recursive efforts. So we just plan to make students learn the art of problem solving skills through questions. So let's start with the problem number 1.20 of IE radar. It says that the position vector of a particle is vector at 1 minus alpha t, where vector a is a constant vector, and we need to find the velocity and acceleration of the particle. So this is the problem. We'll solve this with a vision to develop problem solving skills in yourself. Make sure that the first step of problem solving skill is a silent mind. Whenever you see a problem, whenever you start solving a problem, general reaction of the mind is a feeling of anxiety, fear, depression, excitement, and uncomfortable feelings. The first thing you must learn is a psychological training of your mind. Be strong enough so that you becomes internally silent. That gives your mind the time to think. That is very important. So before solving any question, make sure that you are internally silent for 20 seconds. Be internally silent. You will learn how the problems are solved, but be internally silent. So let's think about the idea. So we are being given the position vector and we need to find the velocity and acceleration. So the central idea of the problem is we must think that what is the relation between position vector and velocity? What is the relation between position vector and acceleration? So certain informations will be used here. So here is the role of information that you learnt in your class. So you must understand this, because there are a lot of myths about how to prepare. Somebody is saying something, somebody is saying some other thing. So you must decide what you do by experiments, not by words, because suggestions are free, anybody can give suggestions. But the point is whether these suggestions work or not. So you must experiment on the suggestions, put them through the testing. If it is true, then you have to succeed, and if it's not true, then you will fail. So you can just check that. So the thing is, you must develop a mechanism of recursive learning. Whatever anybody says, just apply that to problems. Make sure that is it working for you or not. So the idea is the relation between position vector and velocity. We know from the definition that vector v is dr by dt and vector a is dv by dt. Since it involves differentiation, so certainly we also need to learn the rules of differentiation. So if you have learned, you are able to retrieve all the data of this information, and this information. Only then you will be able to solve this question. So there comes the role of information. Whatever you have studied, you must have the capacity to retrieve it as and when needed. And for that, you must follow the process of the mind in which it stores data. It has got its own mechanism. You must understand the information. If you are weak at understanding, information will not be stored in your mind and it will not be retrieved when it will be needed. So make sure that you understand things. Don't just try to mug it, don't just try to for rote learning. Try to understand it, practice it, think in different dimensions so that you have a feeling of the information. If there is no feeling associated, you will forget it. So let's continue forward. So we have vector v is dr by dt. Vector r is vector at 1 minus alpha t. If we multiply these terms, we get at minus a alpha t square. Now we differentiate it. So it will be d by dt of vector at minus d by dt of vector a alpha t square. Now here a is a constant, so it will come out. And we know differentiation of t is 1. So that will be vector a only. Then we have from here minus a alpha, and differentiation of t square will be 2t. So we have vector a minus 2 alpha vector at. Vector a, if we can take common, then it is 1 minus 2 alpha t. So this is my velocity vector. If I talk about the magnitude, just take the mode, and this will be the magnitude of, let's say that this is the magnitude of velocity vector or the speed of the particle. So these are for the certain steps. Now let's move forward. Vector a is dv by dt. So this is d by dt, and vector v, as we have calculated, is this. Vector a minus 2 alpha at. So you put it over here. So differentiation of vector a will be 0 because it's a constant. And then we have 2 alpha vector a, and differentiation of t is 1. So we have acceleration vector as minus 2 alpha vector a. Let's represent this symbol by a naught because we have used acceleration for this vector. Now the magnitude of acceleration will be 2 alpha mod a. So if we plot the graphs, that is important concept. It's not given in the question. I have added these informations. If you plot the graph between magnitude of acceleration and time, it will be a static function of time. You see there is no change in the magnitude of acceleration with respect to time. And if you draw the speed time graph, then the graph will be a simple a mode function. At the point 1 upon 2 alpha, value of speed will be 0, and we know that mode function in a single term is like v shape, and at t is equal to 0, the value will be 0 comma a. You just substitute t is equal to 0. So we have got the coordinate 0 comma a. We know the shape, we know when it will be 0, so it is of v type shape. In this way you can solve your question. So you have seen that solving a problem requires certain skills. The first and most important skill is a silent mind. The second most important step is the idea. The third is information, and the fourth is calculation. So you just need to practice these four things again, again and again. How many number of questions you try does not matter. First thing is work on quality of working. So for quality you must practice only these four things: silent mind, then it's about the idea, then information, then calculation. So each problem that you solve, your mind must follow these four steps. Practice them again, again and again. Reduce your speed, work at your own pace, work with positive mentality, work with that information in which you are comfortable. Don't copy other person, and you will be able to succeed. You will certainly learn the art of problem solving skills, and you will end up with flying colors. Thank you and have a nice day. Good morning everybody. Myself Vishvendra. I am the founder of Optimal Success Trajectory. Today I will talk to you about effective preparation. As you see, most of the students preparing for competitive exams like JEE Main, JEE Advanced, NEET, AIMS, NTSC, KVPY, UPSC, CAT, they fail to clear these exams. The reason being that they don't understand the process of preparation. Most of the student fails because their mind don't have skills needed to crack these exams. So we started this organization to provide the training for learning the process of preparation. So there are certain things that I would like to discuss. The first is that when you are preparing, you must feel, you must know that you have sharp problem solving skills. Because the problems with students is they just try to learn a lot of information but don't practice on problem solving skills. Whatever you do, you should do that which is of some use to your targets, which is of some use to your qualifying exams. Suppose you want to be a good cricket player and you want to perform in the cricket match, and you are preparing for hockey. So it's of no use. Preparing for hockey will not work, will not help you in achieving your targets for the playing the cricket match. So it works in the very same way. So before preparing, make sure that what you are preparing, what thoughts you are giving to your mind, how your mind is being trained, how your mind is being transformed. It is the difference between the process executed by your mind which differentiates between a successful and an unsuccessful student. Control your thoughts, control your mind, modulate the processes of your mind, and try to learn the art of problem solving skills. Only then you will be able to clear your exam with flying colors. So the first step is you must aspire for a sharp problem solving skill. Test yourself vigorously that whether you have sharp problem solving skills or not. And if you are frustrated, you becomes irritated, you becomes uncomfortable when somebody asks you a question, that means you need to check your skills. Change your mind, change your attitude, otherwise you won't be succeed in your exam. The next aspect is a sharp memory. You must remember that for solving a problem, you must have a very sharp memory. Because when you are solving a question and your mind does not give you the desired data, then you won't be able to solve the question. So you must have a very sharp memory so that the information stored in your mind is accessed by you as and when needed. This is the second most important concept. The third is a daily work plan. We will talk about the management work, about the managing your work. So you must prepare a daily work plan. Make sure that whatever information you learnt today, it's well stored in your mind and you are capable to retrieve that information as and when needed. Only then you can say that you are working correctly. If you even don't know what you studied today, then what is use of all the preparation, all the classes? It's of no use. So you must make sure that whatever information you have learnt today, you must learn them in a way that you are able to retrieve it as and when needed. The next is a revision plan. It's natural that you will lose information, you will forget information learnt after some time if you don't have a revision plan. So make a revision plan. The successful students are very smart and very clever. They work on the psychology of mind and prepare accordingly, modulate themselves accordingly. So you must also prepare in a smart way. Make a revision plan so that you revise again and again, so that the information which is stored in your mind is being checked, is being updated and is being revised again and again. That strengthens your memory circuits. You must have heard about that it's the retrieval effect which strengthens your memory circuits and helps you to memorize better and to retrieve data in a better way. The last but not the least is a psychological training for mental strength. Most of the students don't have enough mental strength. Whenever they see a question, they become afraid. Their mind is filled with fear, stigma, embarrassment, anxiety, depression. And because of that, they are not able to design effective solutions. So if you want to prepare for your exams, if you want to end up with a flying colors, then you must possess a mental strength, and for that psychological training is needed. Prepare yourself mentally for the test. Put yourself in a virtual situation in which you are facing the test. Once you have learned how to bear the pressure, how to bear the stress, nobody can stop you from being successful. Thank you and have a nice day. Good morning everybody. Myself Vishvendra. I am the founder of Optimal Success Trajectory, and in today's class we shall discuss about the coefficient of elasticity, which is represented by E. Coefficient of elasticity is a property of the material and it can be defined as Young's modulus, bulk modulus or modulus of rigidity. So let's see things in proper perspectives. So the first thing is coefficient of elasticity. It is represented by the symbol E and it's a scalar quantity. Its dimensions are m1, l-1, t-2. It has SI units kilogram, meter minus 1 second minus 2. It has CGS unit gram per centimeter second minus 2. It has same units and dimensions as that of stress and pressure. The next thing is it can be defined in three ways as I have already told, and it is related to the elastic potential energy stored in a string. You see, if you stretch a string, then due to internal forces there is a redistribution of the atoms, and because of that redistribution there is a strain inside the material, and because of which an elastic potential energy is stored within the material. So it is very related to that. So it can be defined as Young's modulus, bulk modulus and modulus of rigidity. Young's modulus is represented by the symbol Y. It is actually the ratio of longitudinal stress to longitudinal strain. Bulk modulus is the ratio of volumetric stress and volumetric strain, and modulus of rigidity is the ratio of shear stress and shear strain. So in this way we can define coefficient of elasticity in three exclusive ways. Thank you and have a nice day. Good morning everybody. Myself Vishvendra. I am the founder of Optimal Success Trajectory. We have started a program for solving the standard books questions. A lot of solutions are available, but the solutions in them are not in stepwise. So students, they don't learn the problems. They actually try to mug the solution of the problem. So it's of no use to them because there are a lot of questions. So